Alrighty all, so in the last video we've installed Linux. I also showed you how you can install applications and how to use the man page with just the man command, and you type in, you basically type in man and the command you want to learn about, which is the syntax for man, just a refresher for you. So, as of me recording this, I'm currently uploading the video to YouTube, so yeah. In the meantime, I figured, hey, why not continue with this? So I ended off on a note where I said that I'll be showing you how you can create directories, maneuver in directories, and create files, and how to edit them. So you can do all of this in the terminal really, really easily. One way you can do this is, so first off is listing directories. So what we're going to do is type in ls. Before I type it in, however, let me show you what ls actually is. So ls is a command which basically lists directory contents, but it can do far more than that. So to show you, I'll just type in, let me just clear this out so we have a two environment. Clears it out, simple. So ls, as you can see, there's nothing in it. Even if I type in ls-a, the only thing you'll see is the hidden files, and it's in a row like that. Reason why regular ls and ls so the reason why regular ls doesn't show you those files is that they start with a dot. Let me show you so you can see the dot right here. It doesn't show up under the normal ls, because ls lists files that the user can normally see. When you put a dot before a file, it is a hidden file. So basically it's a file that no one can see. Unless you type in ls-a or ls-all. The main difference between ls-a and ls-all is ls-a shows you just the file names, whereas ls-all shows you not only the file names right here, but the exact date they were created or changed, who is the owner, and which group it is. And here it shows you this mumbo jumbo I'm going to explain real soon. And you can then see the total. The total shows you how many files it managed to find, files or directories. So, ignore this, it's not important. The thing that's important is this, the very first part. This one also shows you the size in bytes. So, yeah. So this column right here, you might have noticed that those ones beginning with the letter D right here are blue colored. The reason why they are blue colored is that D stands for directory. So if it has a directory in the beginning, it's for a directory. To show you a bit of a better example, just click back in. So ls-all /. What I did just now is I listed the contents of our root directory. The root directory is the be-all and all directory, which houses all the files of your Linux system. It's basically like the system32 folder, or the C, actually it's like the C drive on your Windows installation. So yeah, this is basically like the root of a tree trunk, of a tree, then branches it out into different sections, just like that. So reason why I did this right now is to show you, as I mentioned, the directories are colored blue, start with a letter D. But you might notice there is another L in that. What is that? And so basically the L is a link, and links are light blue colored in the standard bash. Bash is basically the environment of our terminal. It's basically our terminal is called bash. So yeah, that's that. So the L's represent links. As you can see, they're light blue, then they have an arrow and which file it is. So yeah, so for example, the init rd.image file is located is actually a link to a file named init rd.image-4.15.0-72-generic. Simply put, it links to a file. It's kind of like a link on a website. You click it and it sends you somewhere. That's basically the same terminology here. Oh, what else? Same thing applies here. It's a link. You might have noticed that some of the files have just a dash in front of them. That's to symbolize that it's just a file, it's nothing else. So if I were to take an example right here, you can see the swap file right here. It's actually large compared to everything else. The swap is basically like a, what should I call it, the virtual memory that Windows assigns you by default. It's basically the same thing. So yeah, that's how you distinguish files, links, and directories from this command. Another thing is, you may have noticed that, let me just clear this out to have a bit more like clean environment again. Let's just type in ls-all again. Actually, I don't have to do that. It's in my buffer. To load a command you launched previously, just press the up arrow multiple times and you'll be able to pick a command you already typed in. So yeah. So what you see here is my home directory, which we are in right now. Where you can tell if you are in a directory is by this thing right here. So to explain what this says, this is your prompt, and the prompt goes as follows. You have your username, host name, which is the name of your machine, here is the directory, and here is your level of administration, if you are a root user or a regular user. A regular user has a $sign, whereas a root user has a £sign, or a hashtag, if you will. So yeah, I just want to point that out right there. So I mentioned these parts before. I only mentioned just the first part here. A thing to remember is that I'm just going to write it out here. Actually, I don't even have to. Where is Notepad? If I could type that is. Okay, Notepad, here we go. So to explain, let me just change the font size a little so it's easier to read for you guys. So to explain what it actually is, so we're going to take our example from that. So we're going to type in D, RWX, dash XR, whoops, and a dunce. Is it though? Dash XR, dash X. Oh, yeah, now it makes sense. Whoops. I was looking at something else. I'm sorry. So, yeah, so now I figured it out again. So, to explain what this says, so I'm going to separate this to make it easier. For those wondering, I took the double dot file, the directory basically. So this part I explained already. The D in here stands for directory. So D is directory. The RVX in this part, in this section, is basically read, write, and execute. So to make it a bit easier, we're going to write these out. Write. Oh crap. Execute. So, as you might have noticed, they're separated into these groups of 3. So as I mentioned before, D stands for directory. There can also be L for link, as we've seen before. It's basically a link or a symbolic link. It doesn't matter, it's one of those. Just check real quick, stop loading, okay. So one thing to remember is that if it's in groups of 3, there is a reason for it. So what Linux uses is something called a user group policy, which basically divides the user into a group, and it has like the owner group and user policy. So to show you that, it's kind of like this. So the first 3 is for the one who created the file. This one is for the group, and this one is for others. The reason why there's like other section is that other people can access the file, simply put, or the directory itself. So here is like the owner, here is the group, and here is the others. The owner is basically this thing right here. For example, the one that I showed you before, the double dots, the owner is the root. So root has the permission to read, write, and execute inside the folder. People in the group root have the permission to write, to read, and execute, not write. So only just read and execute. And the same goes for others. They also have the ability just to read and execute. So they cannot do any changes to the file, they can just read and execute the file, that's it. It's really important to learn this. You can study it up pretty much everywhere you want. It's really important to know this if you are trying to figure something out. So yeah, you can actually change these permissions actually. To show you an example, I'm not gonna do it in this video. Actually I will, because it's related to files. So yeah, so that's that. That's basically explaining how to read the ls command. The ls command will also be one of your most used commands if you're trying to use Linux. Trust me on that. You will never be able to remember the names of the files on the top of your head. You will have to use the ls command, and it will help you out immensely. So yeah. So that's the ls command. So let's get to actually creating directories and creating files and such, and I'll show you some other tricks as well. So what do we do now? So let me just do this now real quick. So again, we'll use the power of our knowledge to list out the directories so we know what we're working with. So there is no folder in there at all. To work with this, to get around this and to be able to create a folder, we'll use the mk command to show you what it actually does. Let's open up the man page. Simple as that, just open up the man page. As you can see, it finds out that it makes directories. Right here. It makes directories. So, what do? Type in make there and the name of the directory we're going to create. For our example, we're going to create a test directory. To show you that it worked, we're going to list all the files. As you can see, there is a difference from before and after. Here, a new folder has appeared. What's that folder? That folder is a directory created by us in our group called test. We have the permission, it's a directory, and we have the permission to read, write, and execute. All people in the group have also the same exact permission, but people from the others, basically everyone else aside from us, can't do anything. They can just read and execute it, which is what you want. You can use the ls command to list out the content of the directory without going into it. To do that, you just type in ls-all and the name of the directory you want to list. For example, it's test. By the way, you can use auto-completion, so if I type in TE and then I press tab, it auto-completes. As you can see, it has nothing in it apart from the 2 dots and the single dots. The single dot is a upper directory and the 2 dots is a directory even higher than that. It's directory navigation. I'll explain that real soon. So yeah, to go around this now, as I mentioned, we are not still in the directory at all. The way you can tell if we are or not is by looking at this. This is this it's called tilde, and the tilde signifies that we're still in the home directory. Again, if I type nothing like this, it will list the directory we're currently in. We are not in the folder yet. We are still in our home directory. To in fact go into a directory, we have to use the cd command. Again, don't know what it is. Type in man cd. There is no entry for that. Because it's actually self-explanatory. So cd stands for change directory. And the way you work with this is to type in cd and the name of the directory. In our case, it'll be test. Now pay attention to the tilde I showed you before. Again, don't know where it is, it's right here. Pay attention to this, to the tilde, to the squiggly line. Once I hit enter, you see something changed. What changed? For one, the tilde is still there, but there's another thing in it. This thing. What is that? I mentioned before, it shows you in which directory we are right now. So here, it was our home directory. And we have created a folder called test in our home directory. So how does it list it? Home directory / our directory we are in, so the test. So we are currently in home / test, which is where we want to be. Again, to show that there's nothing in it, and that it is our directory, we're going to pay attention to how I run this command. I want you to remember that when I launched it before, it listed these things out. Now if I run it, what will it do? It looks at least familiar, doesn't it? Where have we seen such a thing? Oh wait, you've seen it here. You see what I did right now? Before we were in our home directory and we wanted to list the contents of the folder we are right now in. So before going in there, we can just run this and we'll do the same thing. But we are in the directory, so we do not have to type it. In fact, if I were to run the command we used before, it wouldn't work. Why? Because there is no directory like that. There is not a directory. It's an empty directory. It's empty, there's nothing in it. Aside from these hidden files, but there's nothing in it. So that's that. That's directory navigation. Actually, that's not all. So you're like, okay, but what if I want to go back? That's easy. I can cd 2 dots. It will send you up one directory. Just one. We're back. In fact, let me show you something real neat. So let's make a directory called test1 and cd into it. So you can see we are currently one layer higher. So before we were just home /test, now we're home /test /test1. It's the directory we just created inside of that. Again, if I were to list the contents of this folder, there's nothing in it. And we can actually use the knowledge we have by moving one directory upwards. So instead of using cd and 2 dots and then ls, we can make it even simpler. We can just do ls 2 dots. What have we just done? We forced the command ls to go one directory up and list the folder. That's it. So that's cool and all, but let's say you are like 2 layers or even 3 layers deep. Let's make another test folder, let's create another one and cd into it. So let's say you want to just, as you can see it's the empty folder, there's nothing in it. So as you can see, we are currently 3 layers deep. So Yeah, and let's say you want to move all the way over here, and you want to do it in one command. One way you can do this is by simply typing cd dot dot and just repeating the command itself. But that's three clicks. Why would you do that? So one simple way you can do that is so we're back at the folder we were at just before. I just pressed tab multiple times and auto completed it for me. It's a simple trick, works pretty much all the time. One thing you want to remember is, let's say you want to move to your home directory no matter where you are. Bash has you covered. Bash has a feature where you type just cd and leave it blank. It has it set to automatically go to your home directory. Don't believe me? Once I hit enter, watch what happens with this string of text. It will be reduced just to this squiggly line. Don't believe me? Boom. What have we done? We just skipped all of this unnecessary cding in just one command. And we're back in our home directory. Don't believe me that we're back? Well, why don't we just list everything to make sure that I'm not cheating? Where is it? Boom. We're in our home directory again. So that's how you create folders. But how do you create files? Well, it's simple. There is a handy little command called touch. The touch command basically creates folders or changes timestamps. But we're going to use it to either create files and stuff. You can do that. I'll show you. There are multiple methods actually where you can create files with this. There are two methods actually, but I'm going to show you. Actually, I'm going to show you both of them. Why not? So let's create a file. So again, let's list out our directories. So as you can see, there's no file in it. One way you can create files with some text in them is using touch. Actually, no. Let's just do it the simple way. So let's use touch as an example. Unless you want to create a, I don't know, text one dot txt for text. What have we done? We've just created a text file. If you look, another thing is up here. This is our text file. This is how you create text files in your command line. Just with that one command. As you can see, it has nothing inside, but that's okay. So, what do you do with that? You can either create like that, or you can use the command cat. What cat does, it again concatenates files and prints it on standard output. To put it simply, you can run I don't know, let's say we create a file with, let's say we want to create a file with text in it. So that's where cat comes in. Cat can be your best friend when you want to quickly create files. So let's say we want to cat a, so let's say we want to create a file like, we're going to use my previous template just to make our life simpler, .txt. So this is the, actually let's use our, okay, so yeah. So this is our second file we'll be creating. We'll be creating it using cat. Now watch what happens once I hit enter. What is it doing? It's waiting for output. Where you can create output is just write what you want to do. So this is a file created using cat. And you're like, okay, but what do I do now? You cannot exit. You can. Just type in EOF. Or just Control C. That works all the time. Just type in Control C. Or like press Control C, you'll exit it. You're like, okay, but what if I wanna open the file but don't wanna edit it? Cat can help you again. Just reverse the arrow. See what we typed in before? This is what we typed in. This is what we got. Cat can be used to list out contents of files without opening them. So if you're not sure if that's the file, just cat it. Just use cat and it will give you the output that you need. This is what we typed in, that's inside the file. To show you that it is actually the file, we're going to, again, list out directories. Look, It changed its size from 0 to 37 bytes. There is text in it. So that's that, but bear in mind, the first one was created using touch. That just creates the file. What cat enables you to do, you can skip another step of opening a text editor. Cat pretty much is a text editor for you. It is like so simplistic you cannot do anything but just write text, and once you exit, that's it. You can't edit it anymore, but in some cases it's useful. So you can do it like that. As you can see, there's our text file right there. Again, to prove you that I'm not cheating, we're going to cat out the first text. Bear in mind, it has nothing in it, so nothing will go out. The second one has something in it, so it will print something out. So that's cat. That is a really useful command to know. So we've created a file, we've created a directory, but can we create a file inside a directory without being in it? You can do that, just to play some logic. The way you can do that really simply is, again, I'm going to just click this text 3, and the way we want to do this is we want to put it in our test directory. So we're going to type in te test / okay, it's working. So then do /. What we're doing is we're telling it, hey, write out the thing from where the thing I'm going to write into the test-text3.txt file inside the test folder, and once I hit it and start typing, for example, this is the file test-text3.txt inside the test folder, and just press Ctrl+C. Now what do? Well, let's say you want to list it out. If you don't believe me that it's inside that, you can actually run the ls command to see that in fact there is a file. Just type in ls. See that? test-txt.text3.txt file. Do you see that? Let's reverse the output to see if it's actually our file. Would you look at that? Bear in mind we're in our home directory. Again, we can use our knowledge to move into the folder and just use the cat thing without the test before it. And what's going on? Yeah, okay, good. It's working. So this is the file test-txt3 inside the test folder. So yeah, again, cd with nothing will do just that. So we've learned how to create files, how to create files inside directories we're not in, how to create directories, how to print out the content of a directory, and how to write inside of a folder whilst creating the file. How to write inside the file whilst creating it. But let's say when I use a text editor to edit those, you can do that real simply. So Linux comes pre-installed, as I mentioned, with VI, Vim, or even Nano. I would recommend that you learn Vim, but if you cannot understand Vim, there's no problem. There's another text editor. It's called Nano. It comes pre-installed with pretty much any Linux distro. Just to read it up, I'm not going to go into detail with this. So let's create another text file, for example a test text file. Now we're going to use Nano for this, so we're going to type in Nano text, and let's create a fourth one, .txt. Typing it out like this will create the test-text4.txt file for us. and we'll open up any text editor. So this is a file created using Nano. So how do you save? If you remember Notepad from Windows, it works the same. However, exiting is different. So let's say you want to save this. Control S, as you can see, it said wrote one line, which is good. So once you press Control S, it's safe. But how do you exit it? How do you leave? Press Control X. We're out. Don't believe me? Look, we have our commands again. There's a fourth text file created. Don't believe me, that's our file? What have we learned? We can use cat to list the file. The contents of it. Remember, we created it using Nano. Boom. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I told you how to create directories, how to list them, how to edit files. There's actually another editor. I mentioned before that we can use actually Vim, so let's use Vim for the change. Again, it's a different one. I recommend that you study on your own. I'm just going to show you that Vim is actually better for this, and I'll be using Vim from now on. But it's just your thing. So this is Vim. This is all you need to know. So this is a file created using Vim. You see that. So how did I do that? By pressing I, once you open up Vim, you enter insert mode, and that lets you add text. Once you press escape, that's it. You cannot do anything. You might be wondering, how am I moving with the cursor if there is no mouse with it? You can use the arrow keys if you want in a standard installation, but it's not the ideal way. I prefer using H to moving left, L to moving right, J to moving down, and K to moving up. To show you that I'm not lying, I'm going to add a bunch of lines in that just for show. So K moves up, J moves down, L moves to the right, H moves to the left. So you're like, okay, but how do I exit? Do I press Control X? No, don't do that. A way you can exit is by putting the double dots. It's kind of like a semicolon, but it's not. And it is a semicolon actually, almost. And type in W, a small one to write it. As you can see, it says test-txt5.txt new 6 lines, 37 C, which is basically the size, and was written. It writes it down there. It writes it right here, as you can see. And one thing you want to remember is, okay, you've created the file, how do you exit it? Again, the double one I mentioned before. Also, it remembers it from the comments you listed previously, so you can use your arrows to list through those. And just type in Q. This will exit. As you can see, we are back in our regular shell. Don't believe me? Let's just use the cat command to show you that we are in fact back. Boom. We are back. One thing to remember, let's say we make a change in here. So the text has changed, and you wanna save it. You know, quit and save. So that the double dots, write and quit. It's been written and we exit it. Don't believe me? Let's get the output. The text has changed. So that's it. One thing I would recommend for you is just learn Vim, because that's what we'll be using from now on. It is simple to use, you just have to get a grip on it. If you remember these two main things, you will be able to start editing things much faster within your virtual environment. And that's pretty much it. So I hope I covered everything you need to know in terms of creating text files and creating directories and maneuvering in directories. Again, if you're not sure, look it up. The internet is your best friend. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope I helped you guys a little bit more. Again, if there are any questions you want me to cover, let me know. I was thinking that I will show you how you can actually install a graphical environment, but there are a few more things we can do inside the terminal, and I think it will be a lot more useful if I show you those fast instead of installing a graphic user interface right away. So I will look up a few things more. If there are a few things and questions you want me to cover, let me know. I will try and cover those. I will try my best to do that, and yeah, so this is it for now. So again, we've learned how to create files, how to create directories, and how to edit those files. So I hope you guys learned something. Again, read the man pages, they are your best friend. And again, a link to my website where all the man pages are listed is down in the description below. Just hop on that and read up. If you have Linux installed, you can read up the Vimeo terminal. Again, man and any command you want. Just do that and you're pretty much set. You can read up what you need to know. Just read up. You just have to read. There's no way around this. So yeah, that's it. Hope to see you guys next time. Again, make sure to leave your questions in the description below. Bye.